Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Live. Now, Bodyland, a site for contemplation, is an exhibition that ventures into the heart, soul and culture of Tyhume Valley and Amathole region. This project is curated by Cape Town-based interdisciplinary art practitioner Anelisa and features art pieces from Baz Bailey, Fundiswa Douw, Sisonke Papu, Wezile Harmans and Yonela Makoba. Well, Anelisa joins us now in studio to tell us more about this project that is set to open from today and will run until the 3rd of June at the UJ Art Gallery. Anelisa, good morning. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
It's so good to have you. I mean, brief outline of what Bodyland, a site of contemplation, is all about.
So we started this residency project along with the leadership of Atipacharuga, which is one of our most internationally recognized South African artists. We started this residency through our NPC, Victory of the Word, in 2020 April during the pandemic. So we really needed to find ways of creating solutions for contemporary artists. So we started this residency program and we had about 69 entries. We selected 8 occupants and 2 years later, we have an amazing show with only 5 occupants showing works, but the works really are a visual conversation around what has happened with the artists for the past 2 years, but also how they engage with the Amathole region and the Tyhume Valley, along with their body, their politics as Eastern Cape kind of people who were born from the Eastern Cape or come from the Eastern Cape diaspora. People who have connections to the land, and we really wanted people to be able to, or rather the occupants, the artists, to be able to present their works in their native tongues, to be able to feel connected to the land, to be able to create works, whether it's exploring their current mediums or exploring other ones.
What theme comes through for most of the artists?
Home. For me, it's home. Finding themselves, finding their inner purpose. I feel like the work has been therapeutic for a lot of the artists, whether it is really coming into one's own through one's gender, or whether it's unpacking conversations that are often had in spaces where women are occupying spaces, and then we have performance pieces by Yonela where it's about sexuality, where it's about releasing of pain and coming to a place where her ideas are slightly more resolved. We have a spiritual healer who taps into his spirituality in order to create these beautiful pastel pieces. We have Fundiswa Douw who talks about Ikhanti and is building these really beautiful kind of architectural structures. We have Wezile, who recently won an award for his beautiful performance piece, who'll be showcasing it. So what we really wanted was the artists to, we didn't really want to dictate to them what they need to create. We wanted them to use art as a form of therapy. And I think that's the most important thing. There's always the commercial side, but it has to be healing as well.
Bodyland.
Yes.
So that's an interesting title.
Yes.
How did you come up with that title?
We have this need to have some kind of geographical mark in our lives. You know, a lot of us say this is where we're from. We're very much defined by the places that we come from. And we found that a lot of these artists were always searching for a deeper meaning within their art practice. And the common thread is that they're all from the Eastern Cape. And we really wanted them to use their bodies to be a medium as well, to find themselves doing the necessary research about the region that we had kind of placed them in, but also to feel very much connected to the land itself and to find connection as well and to see how it connects with their practice.
And how were you as the curator, how did you find yourself translating it? You know, they have their idea of what home is like, what Bodyland means to them, but how are you as the curator, how did you then translate it and looking at it now and say, okay, this is how I saw it?
Honestly, I feel like I'm constantly winging it. I'm constantly winging it. Every project is different. This is not our first Bodyland, a Site for Contemplation show. We first had it around February, where it was part of the VIP program for Investor Cape Town Art Fair. It was shown at the AVA Gallery, so some of the works are similar to the works that were seen previously, but the artists were able to really reflect on their works and feel that they could go bigger and bolder, or maybe find ways of continuing the conversation. And so they've added more works for this particular show with UJ. And yeah, it's my job is just to inspire. My job is to support. My job is to take care. My job is to see the limitations that the artists have set for themselves and to see how I can push them further. With regards to the conversation or maybe being able to find a common thread, I think when you've been able to do a residency and you've had such great mentorship from numerous artists, whether it's myself and Ati, my co-founder, or it is from other artists, because these are practicing artists, so they are participating in other shows. My job is to know what they're doing at all times, to see where I can support, but particularly for this project, to tell them that, you know, there's that work that you did, and I think we could push it a little further. Do you think it's possible? And there's always a lot of resistance. Yes. But again, my job is to be nurturing, to take care, and that's what I do. Yeah. And whatever the conversation then becomes, I mean, each project is unique, and each project, whether it's a repetition of the same show, is different, with different challenges, and one's always taking a different stance, or maybe the institution we're working with has slightly different politics. My job is to be flexible and to accommodate.
I want to touch on the performance pieces as well. How much of it, you know, I think to put art there is one thing. It's another thing to translate it into a performance piece where the message still comes through. What were your thoughts on the performance pieces that you saw and how they translated?
A lot of the time, I ask them what they want to do, and they tell me. And then my job is to really find the concept and to say, is there a common thread? This performance is dedicated to Workers' Day and the observation of Workers' Day. A lot of Black individuals feel like the moment we take a break, we are somehow sacrificing important parts of our career. But in order to be good art practitioners, in order to be Black conscious individuals, we too need to rest. And this particular performance is a conversation, or rather an extension of the first performance. And so when I was told that is what she wants to do and she doesn't want to do the repetition of the previous performance, then we sit down and really unpack why and what the thinking is. That's my job. And then to let her body move as it needs to, because there's very much I think with all the artists, there's very much a connection with spirituality, and it's very important for me to not control every single thing. What we can do is do like the logistics aspect of the show, but the artists really need to feel like they have room to create and to be flexible and to be resourceful, and that's also a part of the art making process.
And I don't think you could have done it without being spiritual about it, because home is where your spirit is.
It is.
Do you know what I mean?
It is. We're all looking for home. We look for home in people, we look for home in workspaces, we look for home in conversations, we look for home in figuring out our lineage, where we come from, where we might have migrated. So it's important to be connected and rooted to something, and I think that's what the show's really about. And I hope that when people go in, they really create and make time for contemplation.
You know, Anelisa, I really want to see it now. Now I'm really interested. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you.
Anelisa Mangcu, that's Interdisciplinary Art Practitioner, and we've been in conversation about her, about an exhibition she curated titled Bodyland, a site for contemplation. Interesting there. Well, it's at the UJ Art Gallery, 7th of May, which is today. It starts today. All right, quick ad break. We're talking South African movies after this. Stay with us.